Hello folks, this is welcome to Bullion Babai. Now we'll discuss two things today. One, what is going to be the Reserve Bank stance on monetary policy to be announced today. There is an expectation of majority of banks that the rates will be reduced. Why? Because the banks are flush with money and they have to lend in order to make their margin, net interest margin, and unless they lend it out, they'll have to make do with keeping the money with the Reserve Bank. Now, what do banks do when they get a lot of money, or the money that they've got so far due to demonetization and deposits in banks? There are lakhs of crores. What are they doing? Banks naturally don't want to keep it in cash because they lose interest on that. So they park the funds with Reserve Bank of India. And what does Reserve Bank do? Reserve Bank pays them at a very, very low rate, lower than the entire interest structure in the market. Now that is repo rate. And supposing the banks want to do some active banking. This is passive banking. So you just take the money from the public and keep it with the Reserve Bank of India. Now, the public you are going to give, let's say private sector bank is offering 6%, or a public sector bank is offering 4%, and Reserve Bank of India is also offering only 4%. Then the margin for the banks is zero. That means they are actually bearing the burden of managing these funds. There is no management fee involved. So at this point of time, banks which have been laden with so much of money, extra cash, they are depositing it with the Reserve Bank. And this money is not earning them any net interest margin. So banks are interested in lowering of the interest rate or repo rate so that they will be incentivized to reduce the online lending rates to the public, and the public will be incentivized to take money from the banks and start economic activity. So it is imperative of the day today that in India you have to reduce the interest rates if the economic activity or lending activity has to pick up. So based on this, majority of the banks except State Bank of India and one or two other banks, all of them have opined the Reserve Bank of India will reduce the interest rates by 25 basis points this time going. Now the people who are talking on the other side are pointing out to two things. One, in banks there is an oligopoly going, the oligopoly leader being State Bank of India, and State Bank of India says that no reduction in interest rates is possible by Reserve Bank at this point of time because there is no demand in the market for funds. Mind you, there is no demand in the market for funds. And all the IT companies are also now laden with high costs coming of Trump. So their demand for funds, and then many of these people who are not getting H1B visas, that may affect the number of people being employed, and some of them may come back from US H1B visa holders and may not be able to go back, and this will in turn reduce the number of people who are able to form the demand, the consumer demand, number of people who are going to use the market. So let us put both of them together on two sides of the coin and then decide whether Reserve Bank of India is going to reduce their rates. In my view, the government of India is pushing for a greater creation of credit in the market. One of the major things that is coming out with the Housing for All scheme, infrastructure status has been given, 3 to 4% interest subvention has been given, National Housing Bank is refinancing to the extent of 20,000 crores, and then affordable housing, all the companies are now concentrating on affordable housing. Affordable housing, because of the infrastructure status, is going to be the next best thing. And then tax incentives have been given. Now, what are the tax incentives that have been given to these people? Right? You have principal repayment under 80C, Section 24 interest repayment, and 80E reduction. Total, all three will be about 4 lakhs per annum. And 8%, 3% subvention is for 12 lakh loan and 4% subvention is for 9 lakh loan under Prime Minister Awas Yojana. These tax incentives, coupled with National Housing Bank 20,000 crore, with the Government of India infrastructure status for affordable housing, and the scheme of PM Awas Yojana in rural areas, and then the aim of housing for all by 2020, in the next 15 years, some millions of houses, 20 million homes are to be built in 2015 to 2020. So there is a path laid down for everybody, and both the supply and demand side have been taken care of. And in view of this, and because Mr. Urjit Patel has been brought in mainly to toe the line of Government of India, it is reasonable to assume, very reasonable to assume, that the Reserve Bank of India will reduce their rates of interest by 25 basis points. Now, next comes, the other thing is about reality. It's a part of extension of this rate of interest. Now, what are the realty firms which will be useful for us for investments? Now, the realty firms which are active in second and third tier towns and rural areas, they are going to be the companies which are going to get maximum benefit out of this scheme. And which are they? One is Diwan Housing Finance, LIC Housing Finance, India Bulls Housing Finance, HDFC will be the last. So these are the companies. Okay. Now there are microfinance institutions. A lot of microfinance institutions, they have become small finance banks. They have been given the status of small finance banks. Now, what exactly are these? Who are these? The small finance banks are now in the market, and they are building up momentum. They are normally giving FD rate of 5.5 to 8%, whereas normal banks are stopping at 6.75, less than 7%. Okay. Then SBI account, all of them are giving about 4%. Some of them may also now offer 6%, on par with the private banks. Then they are going to mainly start with the biometric Aadhaar ATMs. And biometric Aadhaar ATMs will not have a need for people to study the language, understand the language and respond to it. Once that is removed, and just by way of your biometrics, you will be able to authorize payment or receipt. That's a very big benefit to the rural areas and people who are not satisfied, who are not educated. Now, which are the companies, small finance banks, which are good for our investment? One is Ujjivan SFB, small finance bank, Capital SFB, Equitas Holdings, Utkarsh SFB, and Suryodaya SFB. So please examine these things and then see how it can be used in your finance investment purposes. Thank you for watching. Bullion, bye-bye.